Just a reminder that candidates are welcome to sit at either of the two tables up here, or if you've got a large contingent for your town, please sit with your town. It's your choice. We have more people than we have seats, so we'll probably have to do a little. We've got some standbys for dinner, so we'll work it as best we can.
Candidate for the 33rd State Senatorial Office, Nichols.
Thank you, Cindy. I know you all wondered why I have this tripod out here. We've heard a lot of things from the other candidates about what they propose to do, and they've used a lot of fancy words sometimes, a lot of good specifics. But how about the background? What sets the table? What sets the table is some information presented right here. The first chart I wanted to spend with you some time shows the population of Connecticut over the past several years, and in fact, the net population loss to other states. In every single year since 1991 all the way up till 2008, we were net migration out of the state. Now somebody would say, well, we've had people coming in. And this little dotted line up here shows the net population, both the outbound population and the population coming in. And except for 1 year, 1993, Connecticut lost population. Well, it really doesn't matter. It looks like we stayed about the same. Yes, that's true, except for the fact that in the two major cohorts, the young and brightest, and the people who are wealthy and most mobile, that's where this entire loss was taking place. How many of you know a young person, with the exception of one of our candidates tonight, how many of you know a young person who wants to come back to Connecticut to make a career? Right there. And the people who are wealthy, where have they gone? Well, we all know the numbers who spend more than 6 months out of the state. 6 months out of the state. Because if they spend the 6 months, they no longer have to worry about paying what? Taxes. And what does that mean? That means that the population that remains is the one that pays the tax bill. And so what has the state government done? What's the legislature done? They've taken the size of government and the cost of government and significantly increased it. As a matter of fact, in real tax-adjusted dollars, back in 1986, we had a total tax base of about $3,400 per capita. That was the tax burden. By the end of 2008, the tax burden each and one of us pays is somewhere in the neighborhood of $7,000. And what have we gotten for that? We've gotten less and less and less in terms of service, and more and more and more in terms of taxes. I grew up here in Connecticut. I grew up here in Connecticut when Henry Cabot Lodge was the governor. Ed and I are probably the only people that remember that. But he was indeed a fiscal conservative. Connecticut was a pay-as-you-go state at that time. Is it now? Hell no, they've raped the rainy day fund, right? They've taken bonding for the next several years, and where does the net effect of that? Whose shoulders does it fall upon? Yours and mine. It's time to change and stop the spending. I I believe very, very strongly that we can do this. One of the things that bothers me an awful lot is something called GAAP, Generally Accepted Accounting Principles, and GARP, Generally Recognized Record-Keeping Practices. Both of these things are strongly resisted by the Democrat legislature. You know why? They don't want you and I to understand what the P&L is on an individual program, whether it made a profit, whether it met its objectives, or whether it failed. Rob Simmons, I am proud to say, was a guy who had a real plan before he entered the Congress, because the day he came in, he filed a bill for the 8 Mile River. He was successful in that and unique in his freshman class. One of the things that I plan to do is to file a bill that both would start GAAP and GARP in the state of Connecticut, so that we will finally be able to look at a program and say, that program means something. That program meets its goals. Or alternatively, that program fails. And that shop, that program, that overhead needs to be shut down. We have 300 and some taxes in the state that collectively only raise about $38 million. And those programs, by and large, could be eliminated, net positive to the state, because most of them, it costs more to collect the money than the money that it brings in. Does that make sense? Do we as citizens applaud a government that would allow that kind of thing to take place? No. What should we do? I think the word is throw the bums out. Somebody told me, Neil, you're carving yourself a big plate. You're carving yourself a big mission. I said, I'm used to that. I was a labor union leader at Pan American World Airways. I was a senior marketeer for the airline in senior management. When we lost our airplane at Lockerbie, I went into management, out of the cockpit, into management. And one of my tasks was to try to rebuild the airline from the inside. After I left management, I went back to the union and was one of the people who negotiated with the board of directors for the future of the airline, representing my union. We worked together to keep the airline running for an additional 4 years. Nobody said we could do that, but we did it. We need people who are able to take and understand innovative solutions for intractable problems. I spoke about it earlier today. It's important that we all elect people who are able to visualize off the piece of paper a new solution for a problem that everybody says it can't be done. It's not acceptable to say it can't be done. Not acceptable. The way we're going to do that is to say to you, I need help. I need your support. Whether it's me that's talking or one of the other candidates, we need volunteers. We need your support who will communicate the goal that we together have of responsible government, smaller government, accountability in government, and new direction. I'm a candidate for State Senate against Eileen Daly. An 8-term entrenched Democrat. She's one of the ones that's been responsible for the most, quote, innovative of the new tax structures. That's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for change. Together, we can make that change. Thank you very much.